Today we're talking about the 2A4 Mini PTZ. This is a fully weatherproof Mini PTZ, so it can be used in outdoor applications, no problem at all, but it's also small enough to be used in indoor applications. It's still very attractive, looks just like a regular dome. Has a 2.8 to 12 millimeter lens on it, so good for those small to medium range shots. And but basically, in the following videos, I'm going to install this camera next door to this room here in an indoor application and show you daytime and nighttime video. And then shortly after that, I'm going to take this out to my house and replace an older PTZ, an older Mini PTZ, replace it with this one. I'm going to show you the whole install process and show you the video and everything. And you can make your decision whether this camera suits your needs or not. But let's take a closer look here. This is the camera, of course. Now it does run over POE, and of course if you want to use 12 volt DC power you can, but I totally recommend using POE. It does have audio connections on it. If you want to use a microphone you can. This thing's real easy to install. It comes with this little detachable mounting plate. You basically mount the thing up to the ceiling and then twist the camera on. And of course it comes with the CD, which comes with software and the manual. Comes with the hardware, screws, and then it comes with this little weather grommet that it weatherproofs this little RJ45 connection. So let's go ahead and hook this up in the ceiling next door and let you see some video.
Just got the camera installed. One thing that really stands out is the image quality. Very good image quality. Just by looking at this, you can see the fabric in the carpet. Very, very impressed with that. So I just zoomed in there all the way. As you can see, it's not a really long range zoom. It's only 12 millimeters, so it's good for those like medium range shots. But I'll zoom in again right here, as you can see on those cameras. And there's not a lot to look at in this room. We'll show you more when we install it outside. But so far, I'm really impressed with this camera. All right, so we got the same camera in the same room, but this time with all the lights turned off. There is no other lighting in this room. If you walked in this room, it would be completely pitch black dark. The only light source this camera is using is the invisible infrared LEDs the camera is using. So as you can see, it's pretty adequate. We got it zoomed in all the way there. You can pretty much read what's on that label there. You can definitely tell what's on the table. And here we're going to zoom it out all the way to its widest angle, and even at its widest angle it illuminates the room enough to where you can see what's going on. And it's not as bright as some of the other cameras we have, but so I'm not sure you'd want to put this camera in a big warehouse that's pitch black with this being its only light source. If you're going to put it in a big area like that, you probably need some other ambient lighting from other IRs or other lights that you may have. But for a room this size, it's pretty adequate. So let's go ahead and take this camera and install it outside. All right, so here we are getting ready to swap out that camera with this camera. It's a beautiful fall day, great day for installing security cameras. So this is my PTZ camera that I have viewing my driveway and my front yard. It's about 3 years old, which in technology years is like 20 years old. But it's still a really good performing camera. It's 2.8 to 12 millimeter, pan tilt zoom, 1080p. Still really good performing. I like it a lot. I still use it. There's only one thing I don't like about it, and it's the size. And it really bugs me because as soon as I come in through my driveway, I see this big honking camera every time I come through. And so I really want something a little more discreet, a little smaller. It just looks better. You want your house to look good. I mean, you want surveillance, but you don't want cameras sticking out like a sore thumb, especially on the front of your house. So I'm hoping this camera is not only going to look better because it's smaller, but it's also going to be a better performer because this is a 4 megapixel. So let's get started. All right, so I got the old camera down. I'm already liking what I see. Let me show you a comparison between the two here. So here's the old one, here's the new one. Quite a bit of difference. I mean, this thing's like less than half the size of this old one. Another really cool thing that I'm going to like about this camera over this one is this old camera. This is a traditional infrared PTZ design. The only downside to this design is when the camera is moving, you can obviously see where it's moving, both day and night. So if somebody's sitting in my garage, or I mean in my driveway, and I'm trying to view them, they're obviously going to know I'm looking at them. So this thing has the PTZ module inside the dome, and it's nearly impossible to see the camera moving unless you're just like looking directly right at it. Even then it'd be hard to see. The cool thing about it is they put the infrared illuminators on this little black ring right here, and they stay stationary. The infrared stays stationary, but the camera moves. So I'll show you another picture later how that works, but this is going to be pretty cool. All right, so I'm getting ready to climb up the ladder and install this PTZ. I can already tell this thing's going to be a breeze to install compared to most traditional PTZs. If you ever installed a PTZ before, you know it's a pain in the butt. This is going to be super easy. It comes with a mounting plate. You just drill a mounting plate up on the eave there, and then you get the camera and kind of snap it into place. But one important thing about this mounting plate right here, it has a front labeled. That's important. You really need to put the front arrow to the centermost position of what you're trying to view, because this PTZ does not have an endless 360 pan. It actually does have one stopping point, and you need to know that. So kind of, decide where you're going to be viewing most, your centermost area, and put that arrow and point it right to that area. Finally got the PTZ installed. Just kind of want to give you a point of view of me coming down the driveway. It's, as you can see, it's just a lot less obtrusive. Can't really tell it's there unless you're just sitting there looking at it, but looks a lot better aesthetically than the last one for sure. Kind of show you the install right here. Now a lot of you probably are asking why I just didn't put the camera over the hole there. Well, unfortunately that hole was there whenever they built the house. I had them run all the cable, and that's where they put the hole. If I would have put the camera over that hole, it would have been too close to that fascia board right there, where I believe I would have had a lot of bad infrared reflection. You always got to take that into account, especially those long fascia boards that kind of overhang. Always take stuff like that into account when installing your security cameras, especially when it comes to infrared. So I just kind of had to scoot that camera back in the corner. But anyways, it looks a lot better than the last one. Pretty happy with it. So let's go ahead and take a look at some video. All right, so I've got the camera installed outdoors. I want to show you something as to why I was impressed when I first logged into this camera. Let me show you here my old PTZ. Now this was a 1080p 2 megapixel PTZ, which is still good, but really there's no comparison to this, which is the new PTZ, which is 4 megapixel. Now I knew there was going to be an improvement, but I honestly really didn't know it was going to be this much of an improvement. I mean, just look here when I zoom in and pan here. I'm going to zoom in on kind of the grass, and this is probably, I don't know, maybe 40 feet away, maybe 50 feet away. You can almost make out the blades in the grass. I mean, they kind of stick out. The color reproduction is really good, so really liking the image quality. By the way, the pan tilt zoom controls are real responsive. They can actually go faster than what you see in this video, but zooming in and out, panning is really responsive. Here I'm going to pan all the way to the leftmost part of the camera. I can't pan any further left there. So as I told you, this is not an endless 360 camera. That does have a stopping point, and that's important when it comes time to mount. And here I have it panned all the way to the right. So as I told you, there's that mounting plate with a directional arrow on it. You need to make sure that directional arrow is pointed to the middlemost part of your camera's field of view to maximize its effectiveness. So anyways, I'm liking this camera so far. It looks good on my house, and the overall image quality looks really good. So I'll show you some nighttime video here and we'll go from there. All right, so here it is nighttime. I'm going to show you a few different scenarios here. Now, here's the deal. I got a lot of cameras on my house. I know right now it looks like there's like a floodlight on. That's actually not a floodlight. That's infrared from another camera. I mean, if you walked outdoors right there in that location, it'd be completely pitch black. We live out in the boonies, but I got tons of cameras on my house. You know, it's a tax write-off, so what do you expect? You know, being in the business of security. Anyways, this is what it's going to look like for me with just the infrared from the camera, as well as infrared from ambient lights from other cameras as well. So, you know, it looks decent, looks pretty good, especially right there in that area where that camera, that other camera's really, you know, shooting out a lot of infrared. But here I'm going to show you what it looks like completely pitch black. And like I said, we live out in the boonies. There is no light out there. It's very dark. So there, I turned off one camera. There's another camera. And that's what it looks like completely pitch black. So, you know, honestly, this is why I like doing videos, so you guys can see the good and the bad. Be honest with you, you know, this camera, if the lights were off all the time, probably wouldn't be a good camera for this scenario. You know, so again, if you're going to use this camera in a big, wide open outdoor area where it's really dark, this might not be a good camera unless you have lights and stuff. Here's what my area looks like all the time. So I just turned on my regular lights, my porch lights or my garage lights or whatever. This is what it looks like all the time. And this is why it's going to be a good camera for my scenario, because I never turn off my lights. Plus, I have all those other infrared lights from the other cameras. So it's going to be adequate for me. Now, if I didn't have all the other lighting, this camera would not be a good camera for this scenario. So, like I said, you know, this is why I like doing videos, so you can see the good and the bad. Other companies aren't going to do stuff like that. They're only going to show you the good points. Again, there it is with the lights off. I'm going to flip them on again so you kind of get an idea. So hopefully that helps you make a good decision on whether this camera is right for you or not.
Well, I hope we showed you enough information to help you make it a good informed decision on whether this camera is right for you or not and your particular scenario. Just to review some pluses and minuses, some positives, obviously, very small size, that's one of the best features about it. Really good, crisp daytime image quality, very easy to install. Some negatives, the big negative is, you know, it's not really a great nighttime camera for those really pitch dark scenarios. Now it's going to be good for small rooms and stuff like that, no problem at all, but you know, those outdoor areas where you really need good infrared coverage, this might not be it. However, if you have those outdoor scenarios where it's, you know, fairly lit at night, or if you have a lot of ambient light from other infrared cameras, kind of like I did, or if you leave a porch light on, you know, this would probably be a good camera for you. But you know, that's why we show you these videos, so you can make an informed decision. We like to show you the positives and negatives. So what do you think? You know, if you have any questions about this camera, give us a call, shoot us an email. We'll be happy to answer them for you. And anyways, thanks for watching.